Hello, Tesla Nation. Welcome to the Tesla Life, a show by the Tesla community for the Tesla community.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Life number 247. Here we are at the 30th of March, 2022. Just a couple more days left in March, people. So if you need to get something done, get it done now. And we welcome you to the show. Thanks very much for joining us. As usual, we have Mr. Casey Green joining us from the DC area. How are you today, sir?
Doing pretty well. I'm hoping that you're not hearing that helicopter right now.
No, not at all.
All right, so
I had a little bit of an echo going. I had to turn that off.
Yeah, mine. I noticed that the sound for the intro came from the laptop speakers, but the talking is all going through the headphones. So this is interesting. For those that don't know, I switched up the compute situation.
You get stereo happening in the headphone and the laptop speakers. Interesting.
Sound.
Also joining us, as per usual, Mr. Patrick Connor from the left-hand coast. How are you today, sir?
Hello, I'm good. So, hey, Mark, who's today's sponsor?
Today's sponsor is nobody.
Letter M.
That's right. Yes, we don't have any sponsors. And how many patron-only bonus stories do we have?
That would be 0 as well.
Right. Yes. And this, So we're here for you guys, the Tesla Nation. We're not sponsored. We're not brought to you by. We don't have any other agenda. We're not doing anything just for patrons or whatever. We're just here as members of the Tesla community talking about something we love and think it's awesome and helping improve the world. So I'm glad you could join us, and I hope you have fun too.
Excellent. Well, let's get started because there is no shortage in news in the Tesla Life, and Casey's got our first story. What's this about, Casey?
So we talked a few weeks ago about how Hertz had ordered themselves 100,000 plus 50,000 rideshare cars from Tesla, the Model 3 standard range. And well, now they've decided they're going to add Model Y to the fleet. What we don't know is for sure how many of them, and if these count to the original 100,000, or if this is a whole nother intern swiping the credit card again and again.
I do like the fact that Tesla was like, "Oh, you want to buy them? Great, go ahead. No, we want a deal. No, you don't get a deal. Well, can you help us? No.
Can we at least?
There's a website. Do it like everybody else does. Bye-bye.
Can we at least batch them? We need 100,000 of these things.
It only takes 2 minutes to order, so 200,000 minutes later,
you can see the intern going, "Do I have to use my credit card too?"
Just for the reservations.
Just for the deposit, intern. It's okay. We'll pay you back.
That's a lot of frequent flyer miles, man. Come on.
This is true. Totally true. I wonder if they do send like when it comes time to settle up when some of the cars arrive, they just send one check at a time. Because you know that the accountant department would also hate them if they.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you got to write out an invoice 100,000 times and payment 100,000 times and reconcile it 100,000 times. Yeah, that could be trouble.
Hopefully, you get paid by the hour.
Yeah, hopefully. So this will join the existing Hertz Model 3s as well as the existing cars that Hertz has had in the fleet. And like the Model S, and they have a couple of Model X's. They don't have a lot of the other cars, but they have a lot of Model 3s, as promised. And I do want to caution you that if you do the Hertz thing and you do secure a car, don't extend it because they are still getting people arrested and ruining people's lives. So
what?
Yes, this is Hertz
Wow.
and sister cos. So what I would do is if you need a longer time with your Hertz car, turn it in, get another one. No chance of going to jail. Or having the car towed and then say you stole it, even though they are the ones who took it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting turn of events.
How to treat your customers well.
Yeah, that's.
I wonder why they went bankrupt.
Right.
Yeah, I see maybe one potential cause. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, in one case, the cops got there and they're like, the guy had the papers, he had the renewal stamp on it and everything, and the cop's like, I don't know why I'm here. And so he left.
Oh, a reasonable police officer. That's nice to see.
Right. I was going to say that's not how the rest of them all went. Most of them were a case of the car was gone, and since it was towed away back to the airport, nobody knew where it was. You're sitting here with keys, and
bad situation.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a couple things we've learned today. Model Ys will be available in the Hertz fleet, and just keep your car for the original time that you signed up for.
Yeah, and that's not to say that every time you extend it, you're going to have a problem. But if you're somebody who's going to have trouble with the police, or you're away from home, and your car might just be missing because they towed it back early, maybe just get another one.
There's a lot of people that would be
that's the main reason you got the Hertz.
Categories. Yeah, that's probably 90% of the people that pick up a car are people that are away from home. That category. So.
Yeah, maybe 2% were local when I was in the rental car business. One that actually got bought by Hertz, and we didn't have a lot of local customers.
Right?
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, you drive your own car, or you borrow one from a friend, or whatever. You don't usually go rent a car when you're down the block. Right,
and even then, it's most of the local, I'd say that at least 50% of the local customers were going on a trip and didn't want to put the miles in their own car. And then you had people with with their car was in the body shop, but those were rare as well. So then all that was left was somebody needed to borrow a church van, and that was going to be local, and you wouldn't need to extend it either.
Right. Yeah.
I've also heard some questionable practices on Hertz on their website for renting the Model 3s. Is that there's some bait and switches going on. A lot of people will look on the website. And you can pick up a Model 3 at one of the lesser known locations, not an airport location, but one that's further away from the airport at a cheaper amount. But sometimes they don't guarantee that you're going to get the Model 3. So you may get the lower rate. You arrive there and said, I'm sorry, we couldn't get the Model 3 for you. So here's your Chevy Cruze.
Man.
So that kind of thing goes on too. So and if you go to the airport to get it, some people are finding that the rate is double what the fantastic rate was outside of the airport. So do your homework out there. Make sure you, if you're trying to book one because you want a Model 3, do your homework. Talk to a representative there. Make sure that what you reserve is what you're going to get, and that won't be a possibility that you're going to be turned away with the bait and switch. So keep that in mind.
David, they've been making the news for it since 2020, and it hasn't.
For people on the podcast, we have a question here.
Yes, good.
Are these cases recent? Never had a problem with extending a business rental back in the day. No, go ahead, Casey.
Yes, and so this has been in the New York Times and a couple of other news organizations from 2020 up to, I think, 2 months ago was the most recent case of it I saw. And like I said, it's kind of like a game of Russian roulette. You just is it worth playing that? I don't think so.
The stakes are a little lower, but still
a lot lower. Yeah, but you could still end up jobless, and there were a couple of people who ended up with felonies because.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that's
Grand Theft Auto.
That on your record, yeah.
Right? And then once you've got the felony, you lose your job, and this guy ended up.
Even if you get it
homeless.
cleared up, eventually that's a big hassle to deal with. In the meantime, that sucks.
Right, and what Mark was talking about with the bait and switch, as far as the pricing is something that's new to me, but the car not necessarily being available is something they've had the technology to deal with and have not bothered to bother with yet. It's just a matter of.
If you reserve a car, how hard is it to take those keys and say these are on hold for this customer?
Exactly.
It's not that hard to put a name on the keys. Don't give away except at this person.
Right. Yeah. Or keep 3 of these for these people, something to that effect. And so that part is kind of standard operating procedure for them. Is like, we had a really busy crush and we didn't realize. Oh, sorry, your car's gone. Here's this Chevy Aveo. Have fun. But we needed a full-size car. Would you like this SUV for $25 extra a day?
Yeah, because it's going to cost you $80 in fuel.
And that.
Next, there's another group, this time in Germany, a company, a ride-sharing group called Mile. And Mile has a fleet of vehicles that they rent out to people, and they have decided to add the Model 3 to their fleet. So this is another group that is looking to go electric, and best way they can see is to have the Model 3 with a charging structure that is already exists in their country, and makes a lot of sense. So this is somebody else that is seeing the light and moving over to electric vehicles, and we hope that they see a nice bump in business to promote them to continue to move on with electric vehicles as opposed to gas vehicles.
I was getting proofs as requested. I was pasting in the chat. For those on the podcast, you'll have to look at the chat later. And one of these articles is from yesterday. I didn't realize it was still that bad.
That recent? Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Next, Patrick's got a story about California.
Oh, that is right. So this comes to us from Teslarati and by Joey Klinder, and it's titled Tesla Model 3 Y axed from CVRP rebate after price hikes from, quote, inflation pressure. So as we've all seen, we've talked about on this show, Tesla's prices have gone up a couple times recently. And unfortunately, those price hikes have kicked them out of the California Clean Vehicle Rebate Project. So in California, if you buy an EV that's under a certain price cap, which I think is $60K, you get a $2,000 credit. Well, if you, unless you've already ordered your Model 3 or Y, and it was before the 15th of this month, you're not going to get that $2K kickback, which is too bad. But it makes sense for Tesla to raise prices when they are, one, their prices are going up from their suppliers. Inflation sucks for all of us. And two, they have so many orders now in place that they want to discourage people from getting in line. I mean, for some vehicle models, this year's already sold out. So you don't know what prices are going to be like a year from now. So to make sure that you're covered, you bump up your price so you don't have to do something like Rivian did and then undid, where you're like, oh, we can't sell these cars at a loss, so we're going to jack the price up on people that have already ordered them. Nobody likes to hear that. There was a huge backlash. There would be a huge backlash. So prices have gone up and the rebates have gone away. The good news is they're still selling every vehicle they make. And we saw this when the federal EV incentive went away. That didn't slow Tesla down at all. That was $7,500. So I don't think this $2,000 credit in California is going to make a huge difference. It is too bad that because these incentives help more people, especially people doing the Tesla stretch, to get into the vehicles. But my hope is that this is temporary, that 18 months from now, we're past the chip shortage, inflation has we're not constrained, and the prices go back to a better price and they get back in the program. But that's what it is now. So if you're in California, I hope you ordered before the 15th.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to here in Ontario. Actually, Canada as a whole, we had a $5,000 credit for an EV purchase. And about, I guess it's a month and a half ago, Tesla opted out of the program because their price went above the top price that was available from the federal government. So a similar situation happened here about a month and a half, 8 weeks ago. So that's what I find really disappointing. It's not that Tesla's charging what they need to get the vehicle, to get the profit so they can continue to roll this out, but the people that are stretching to get the cars are now being priced out of the market completely. And they don't have they're going to have to look for something else. They're going to have to look at a lesser electric vehicle, or they're going to have to look at keeping a gasoline car. So it's not it's not much of a choice for them. But I understand what's going on. It's just affecting some people worse than others.
Yes, exactly.
Or say you needed a Model Y or a Model X, and now this could be the difference between fitting your whole family in the car or having to listen to people complaining about being in my space. He's touching me.
The good news is even a Model 3 is not exactly a small car.
This is true.
Yeah. So we'll have to see if better times will bring lower prices. So hopefully that is the case, and I certainly look forward to that as soon as possible.
Wonder if they'll
Yeah,
sell
the
more.
good news is all the times we've heard, oh, as soon as these incentives are gone, Teslas are going to stop selling and it's all going to be over. And no, that is not the case at all. They're
It's
going
never
strong
happened.
with or without.
Yeah.
And it doesn't benefit Tesla. These incentives benefit the people who buy the Teslas.
Right. Yeah. I wonder if they're going to sell more cars without the wheel upgrades, for instance, because that could, like, literally, if you were going to get the one with the premium wheels, and you just get the base wheels now, that could make the difference for you.
Yeah,
if you weren't stretching.
Tesla stretch, yeah. Now you notch down a little bit.
Well, hopefully, if you're stretching, you're not Mac Daddy in that thing out. But
you can always change the wheels 3 years down the road. So
absolutely,
get the cheaper wheels to start for sure.
And somebody on eBay who wanted to, get some aftermarkets, get some free tires with it sometimes.
Yeah. Next, of course, the big story is that Tesla has started to send out some invites for its Cyber Rodeo, they're calling it, in Austin,
Yeehaw!
Texas. So it looks like all the requirements are in place. 15,000 people are going to be invited to this rodeo. I'm sure they're going to have a couple riding bulls for sure. And this is something that, of course, is going to really probably bring a lot of media attention to Tesla as well. Opening up in the city of Austin and being able to invite that many people there. So with 15,000, I guess that's the total amount of people, because that was the regulation. So an invite typically goes out and it's for one person, and that person can invite one other person to the event. So, probably 7,500 invites will go out. And then, of course, there's that whole thing where they try to figure out who's RSVPing, who's not, and who they can send out the invite to somebody else if that person is not going to come or bring a +1. So, they're always updating this. We've heard about wave 1 and possibly wave 2 of invites have gone out. But we're interested to see how that goes along, and certainly looking forward to the, what is it, the 7th? Or the 8th?
Yes.
7th. It's the 7th.
Yep, April 7th.
So
not 420 like I thought it was going to be. Not April 1st, because that could be a big practical joke.
Yeah. Imagine all those people showing up and they say, "No, we're not going to hold it." Just fooling. Fools.
So you're saying, Mark, if I haven't got my invite yet, there's still a chance. Maybe
there's still a chance.
RSVPs responds in the negative, and they get so I could still get an invite. I want one.
There is a possibility, Patrick. However small, there's still a possibility. I heard actually that the first wave was typically the captains of the different Tesla clubs across the nation. So a lot of them were chiming in that their invites had come in the first wave. So, and I'm watching a few Twitter groups where people are anxiously awaiting, rubbing their hands, praying, everything that they can get it. And of course, the vast majority are supposed to be around the greater Austin area.
That makes
there
sense.
will be people outside of that, but that was first priority according to Elon. If I still have to, I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't do what they did in Berlin and open up a website and allow people to actually register that they would be interested in going. I think that would have been the best way to do it here in Austin as well, because it allows them to know who would actually accept it if they were given it, because they've actually applied for the position, and it would cut down on time on their end and give everyone they could even break it up geographically and allow different groups from different parts of the nation to come if they wanted to. But for whatever reason, they didn't want to do that here in North America. They wanted to go with the same thing they had done previously, and that's kind of disappointing. As Tesla grows, I think they should do those kind of things. It would make a lot more sense and show some appreciation to the people that want to attend and are supporting the company.
Right. And how many of those people who are in charge of the Tesla clubs have been to 3 or 4 of their events already? Share the love. Let some other people have some fun
Move
too.
it around. Absolutely. Yeah. With that, got a little bit of surprise here in Canada. And what happened just this past Saturday or Sunday was that FSD beta was released in Canada. All those people that were on the scorecard for 3 weeks are thanking Tesla that they finally pulled the trigger and allowed a number of them to get through, because there was a lot of moaning and complaining. Let me tell you, when they delayed it by 1 week and they delayed it by 2 weeks, there was a lot of moaning going on because, of course, driving like grandma is not fun. And there's all sorts of stories of people with, because of course we as Canadians got to learn what you guys had gone through. We knew some ways around it. We knew some tricks, some ways to game the system. There was talk about people that were taking their vehicle out at 2 a.m. on a major highway and just putting in the miles and then coming home, putting it in the garage and storing it for a week once they had the miles.
Yep.
There was all sorts of stuff going on. So it was kind of funny watching it, and of course it was painful for some that were. And then there was, the problem of, oh my gosh, I got a call from the school. I got to go pick up my children at the school, and I've only got the Tesla to take, and I've got to go through regular traffic.
Call an Uber.
So yeah, send them an Uber credit.
Or you can even get in an Uber and go get them.
Wow.
I've heard you can rent a Model 3 from Hertz. You could do that.
Right. Yes. Locally. So one thing that I found interesting was that some folks in Canada had scores as low as 36 and still got in.
What? No.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
I did not hear that.
Crazy.
I didn't say it was the norm. The most average score was most of the people had a 99 and a 98. Then you had 100 and 97 of the people that were reporting on the apps like Tesla Scope and Teslafy.
I did not hear of anyone under 98 being admitted, but
this was coming from one of the app runners. So unless they found a way to fake the data their car was reporting, then they got in with that score.
Wow.
Because their version number changed. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think a 37 though. I mean, come on.
maybe they managed to just like improve the score between the time that they reported their car reported to the app and by the time the Tesla pushed it, or maybe they started driving poorly and they said, the heck with this, and Tesla had already pulled the numbers.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So depending on when the numbers, yes, yeah. And that's why I was delayed in getting it, because as soon as we started the beta safety score, we had a 30 score like on day 2.
Yeah.
And so it took a long time for that to age out.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a group discussing about they were on the highway. Someone cut them off, had to do a hard brake. They were charged for it immediately. Their score dropped to an 81 or something from 100. And then what they did is, again, through knowing what others had done, they were able to stay on the highway. And what they did is they would fluctuate their speed, go up to 120 kilometers, and then gradually slow down to 90 kilometers, speed up to 120 kilometers, gradually slow down to 90 kilometers. And that started to average out the brakes. So they were getting credited for consistent and regular braking to take away that one constant brake. So they did that for 80 kilometers, and it evened it out and wiped that off their score because they did so many other ones that were showing it was consistent and good braking.
Clever. It's very clever.
Yeah, it's a science, is what it is.
Right. If you put out an algorithm, people will figure out a way to game it. Yep.
Exactly. And another interesting thing here in Ontario, our major city of Toronto, they have the downtown core has been blocked out from FSD beta.
Yeah.
So all the downtown streets in the core of downtown Toronto have been blocked out of FSD. If you go into that area with your car and it's engaged, it will disengage and tell you that it can't be used there. And the reason, get this,
Wait.
is because
The reason is because Elon hates Toronto. That's the reason, right?
Well,
No,
you see, you
no,
remember,
no,
you
no,
remember,
That's not it. No.
you remember when he
no,
said
Toronto.
you remember when he said motorcycles were not safe? Trains aren't safe. Yeah, that's it.
These are long articulated streetcars that run the downtown core in Toronto. So we've got a streetcar network that runs through public transit. And the problem with streetcars is that there are certain areas when you come up on the streetcar, if their rear lights are flashing back and forth, you're not allowed to pass the streetcar. And of course, the car doesn't know that. They also have doors on both sides of the streetcar. And in some cases, people exit from the left. In other cases, people exit from the right. So they felt it was something they did not want to chance. And instead, they blocked it out. But I understand there's other cities in Patrick's neck of the woods, for example, in Portland, that have streetcars on the streets or light rail on the streets. And they share the road with some traffic in some instances in downtown Portland.
That's true.
So I'm not sure as to why it works there and doesn't work here.
Do they do the thing with the lights?
I don't think so. And that's pretty consistent as far as which side you exit.
Yeah.
And then like downtown, it's on the city streets, but then where it goes out to other places, they have their own dedicated tracks,
their own dedicated
like
track
freeway.
Yeah. But I've taken that transit system a few times, and I know in the downtown core that you were sharing it with cars in certain areas for sure. But
definitely.
Don't forget his mom was Canadian. How can they say Elon doesn't want to kill a Canadian?
That's he worked in Canada. He stayed in Canada for some time, although it was out in Saskatchewan, and typically he was in Ontario for a little time too, but not too long.
Well, all right, well, we got a show title. Toronto has a streetcar named Desires FSD.
So let's throw a conspiracy theory out here. Tesla will be the next one to buy all the streetcars and burn them down.
Oh,
don't do that! Don't do that.
These are electric streetcars, man. You can't do that.
We were electric last time, and then GM did it.
Right.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Replace them with diesel buses.
Was it? It was three of them: Standard Oil, GM, and I think Goodyear tires was the other one. Maybe.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It's well-known.
That's another thing. Here in Waterloo region, we have a streetcar that runs about 13 kilometers down the share some streets, but there is like a little a divider between the street and the streetcar. Although the streetcar does cross many streets, so there's nothing said about Kitchener Waterloo in this either. So I'll have to see if some others, as more and more people get this, if there's any question about the Kitchener streetcars, or as we call it, light rail.
I wonder if it has anything to do with, like, from my understanding, is that particular one is just mixed in there with the cars, and like you said, you can't pass if the lights are on. Maybe it's more like the other ones are like here in the States, where they, like you said, they've got a divider or they've got paint or some other indicator.
Here in Kitchener, we don't have the flashing lights, and we don't have to stop behind the streetcar because they've timed the actual intersection lights that let the streetcar go through and then let the traffic go through. So really, it may be on the street, but it's got its own traffic signal, and the cars are blocked from when it's crossing a street from running into it. So, although people have tried, so we've had a number of fender benders with the LRT. So people manage to get a crash in here every once in a while just because they're trying real hard. But so that's going to be out there. You're going to see a lot of conversation about people dealing with FSDBeta in Canada. And as we said, more and more are being introduced to the program. We don't know how low the numbers will go. Casey stated a 37. The lowest I've seen is a 98 to this point. But we'll keep reporting on that. And if you want to keep up with this throughout the week, please connect to our Twitter feed at The Tesla Life or our Facebook feed, The Tesla Life #1. And we keep you up to date through the week in between shows. With that said, Casey, got a next story, and we're crossing the ocean again. What's going on where this story is?
Let's go to Giga Shanghai. And last time I spoke on this, I don't know if it was on a Sunday or if it was here or both. But anyway, we talked about how Elon and crew had decided that the Chinese employees would sleep at the factory. They would do 2-day shifts instead of their usual 12-hour shifts, something like that, 10 hours. And that was their way of getting around some of the COVID testing and restrictions that were available. So you had the first 2 days they were down with everybody else in the country, at least in the shutdown areas. And then they decided that the shifts wouldn't pass. And now they're going to shut down for another 4 days because things have gotten worse in Shanghai and Beijing. So we're going to see what happens next. It's a little up in the air as far as how quickly they can return and if the previous procedures are going to be acceptable for the next phase going forward during this lockdown. But what was amazing to me was that they also managed to get their suppliers to participate as well. Because I was wondering, what are they going to do? Just build a bunch of mega casts and just let them sit there and then finish the car later? Or they actually got new parts coming in, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, so this starts.
They've already been out for 2 days, and now this is a second lockdown for 4 separate days.
4 consecutive days.
4 continuous days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this new shutdown was only a single day. I didn't know it was 4 days.
No, it's going to be 4.
Oh, okay.
So then the next question is, the people who are already on their 2-day shift, are they now in the factory for 6 days straight?
Oof,
yeah.
That would suck.
Not be fun. Yeah.
It's well, that kind of leads us to people may be tired of COVID, but COVID isn't tired of us.
No.
And it's still going to be out there.
This.
Yeah, you may be tired of dealing with it, but COVID doesn't care. So it's going to be with us for some time, people. So get used to it, because this is something that's going to be around for quite a time in the future, as far as I can see.
Yeah, someone pretty close to me ended up getting it because their coworker, the doctor, checked him out and said, "All right, go back to work." Went back, no work, no mask, no nothing. Didn't inform anybody else that they were exposed, and then this person caught it and brought it home to their newborn baby and their wife. Thankfully, both of them are testing negative right now, but
that's good.
She says that the baby's voice sounds different, and he's down hard with this disease right now. So
it's especially harsh little kids who can't be vaccinated, right? So if you've been vaccinated, it tends to be that you have, I mean, I'm no doctor, but it tends to be that you have less symptoms.
That's what
it's not as bad. But if you're too young to get vaccinated, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, because they used to keep going on about how children are less likely to catch it or whatever, but doesn't mean they can't catch it.
Right, and that was alpha, right? It's mutated.
Right.
Things have changed. So yeah, don't assume what you heard 2 years ago still applies.
Right.
Yeah, they just announced today that here in Canada, the 6th wave is on its way. So it started, and we are, it's this time it's the Omicron second variant. So
right. Yeah, they stopped even giving new names. It's just Omicron Part 3.
Right. Yeah, I noticed that too. I get this chart from Oregon infections, and the Omicron is red, and there's a darker red. What is that? Oh, there's a new one, but it's not. Doesn't have a new name. That's weird.
Yeah. New and improved Omicron.
They're trying to convince us we're back to normal, and well,
yeah, it's not going to be normal for some time. So just take precautions out there. Be safe yourself, and that's the best advice I can give is be cautious at all times.
So while we're on this, I want to bring up that while folks were harping on Elon in California, this factory is it's still a Tesla-owned factory, 100%, and they were able to develop their protocols and test them in the midst of the original wave, and in each individual variant, they're able to sculpt their knowledge and then bring it back to their other factories. So it's not like they were doing it recklessly, although he may have been speaking imprecisely or indelicately, the company itself was taking care of their employees. So just wanted to get that out there before we move on to the next one.
All right. Next, back over to Texas, and Patrick's got this next story.
Okay, so this comes to us from Drive Tesla Canada. Tesla applies to build massive battery energy storage system and a switchyard at Giga Texas. So the switchyard part of that. So we all know that having a battery pack gives you backup power. You can they're going to have big solar panels on the roof there spelling out Tesla. At least that's what it looks like from the what we've seen from the many drone flyovers. And now they're going to install this battery system. So this means that, as we know, the Texas grid is not the most stable one that we have in the U.S. or in the world. It's had its issues, both summer and winter issues. So if Tesla has this ability to be a utility, then they can service themselves, keep their factory going, even if there are neighborhoods that are out of that don't have power. And does it say? It says they've got a 53-acre site there on Tesla Road at Giga Texas, and they've of course filed paperwork for this. So we don't know a whole lot. Yes. Okay. So we know that earlier they had a video highlighting their 81 megapacks that they've installed in another part of Texas. So that'll help Arlington, Texas, stay up and going. And so this one is going to be at Giga Texas, which it makes sense for them to do this. And the switchyard part I found interesting. I wonder if this means they're going to be involved in wholesale electricity back and forth with the other utilities.
That, or they're opening a rail
a switchyard. yes, that they're going to test light rail. They're going to have underground tunnels, and
this is where they're going to bring all the Canadian streetcars.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is that's certainly an electrical switchyard, but and you're probably right, Patrick, because Tesla has expressed interest in becoming a provider of electricity in Texas as a whole. Mm-hmm. And where's the best place to start and test is at your main factory, because this will be the ability to do a couple things. First, if they do run into an issue like last winter, where there is a shutdown, if Tesla has a bunch of stored energy inside of this, they can feed factories essential systems, even possibly keep running through this. But secondly, with the price fluctuating up and down, they're going to be able to use that battery system to carve out the valleys and peaks of the electrical system charge currently, and be able to benefit from that as well as they can also use it if they are connected to maybe the larger grid around them to shave out peak periods for homeowners that are close to the factories, giving them a great test bed to figure out what works, what doesn't, what has to be improved, how the software is operating at any given time, and be able to judge what they're going to have to do in order to grow that to serve more and more communities. So I would think that this is an excellent place to attach to Tesla's new headquarters, so they can figure out how to make this work on a larger basis as time goes along.
Yep, they have auto bidder, and so they can get involved in that and have it buying and selling based on price fluctuations and demands of the grid. Should be cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll keep an eye on that story as time goes along. This, of course, is an insurance package, first and foremost, against a cold Texas night that we saw there were some serious issues with in the past. But yeah, very good. Next, on to the financial markets, and something about a stock split that Patrick's going to tell us about.
That is right. So just FYI here for full disclosure, I'm a shareholder and of Tesla, and I have been since their IPO, and still have those shares from 2011, I think it was. So
Wow, shares are dusty.
yes, they are. Yes. So this is from Tesla Rodeo. Tesla shareholders to vote on Tesla stock split at annual shareholder meeting. So I don't think there's any question of how that vote's going to go. So as we all know, a stock split mathematically makes no difference if you have 5 nickels or a quarter. But psychologically, there's an important difference. A lower share price allows people who can't afford an entire share to buy it. Not all of the um, stock buying sites allow you to buy partial shares, fractional shares, especially outside of the U.S. That's not something that's common. If you want to do dollar cost averaging, which is a pretty smart way to do a lot of investing, where you buy a little bit every month or every 2 weeks or whatever the right amount is, maybe you can't afford $1,000 every month for one share of Tesla stock. So
if you work for Tesla, you may not be able to buy partials, and you may not make enough to make rent and buy a whole share of Tesla.
Right. Yes. And Tesla, like many other companies, have employee stock participation plans. So they take a small amount out of your paycheck each time, and then they accrue that over some window, 6 months, 3 months, whatever. And then you get some shares from that. But if you got to $900 and it was 1,000, then that pay period, you're not going to get any shares. You're going to have to wait until next time. And so there's good all around. There's no disadvantage to having it lower that I can think of off the top of my head. So just take a guess. How much do you think one share of Berkshire Hathaway costs? Their Class A shares.
52,000. That was years ago, though.
Times 10.
Wow.
If I had said 500,000, I would have been right.
Yes. I thought you were going to get it. Yes. So
well,
that's over $500,000.
I forgot time.
And they've never split. And it's amazing.
Got it right.
Did somebody get one? Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Cool. And so they have Class B shares and other things that allow you to mere mortals to buy the stock.
Do you want a house or a share?
Yeah, exactly.
A really nice house.
So this is really cool stuff. I would be shocked if the shareholders did not vote for the split. And the other thing that Musk mentioned in a tweet is that they're considering dividends, which that did surprise me because companies tend to only do dividends when they don't have things to invest their money in. And if they can invest their money to grow the company, then that gives shareholder value and makes for a bigger, better company. And one of the things that Musk has said about his secret master plan 3.0 is that scaling to massive size is going to be one of the goals. And if you want to move the world off of fossil fuels, that means you're going to have to be supplying in a whole lot of areas. Any appliance you can think of that uses fossil fuels is going to have to be replaced in some capacity. So if they start getting into water heaters and heat pumps, air conditioning, whatever, that's going to be a huge investment they're going to need. They're going to have to build their mega charger charging networks around the world for their semi-truck that's coming. They've got a lot of investments that they're going to need to do. So I'm surprised that they're even considering a dividend. Not a dividend payout. The split is referred to as a dividend. Oh, David that makes a lot more sense to me.
That makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah. So stock splits are often referred to as a dividend, which is kind of ridiculous in my mind. But what the dividend is to say they're doing a 5-for-1 stock split. If you own one share, you get a dividend of 4 shares, and now you have a total of 5.
Right.
And technically, that is what it's referred to. Most of the time when people say dividend, they mean some cash amount per share. So
might be just a term that's being used differently in the press.
Right. Yeah. So I could have just assumed they were talking about a cash dividend, and that's not even on the table. And like I said, I was shocked to even hear that they would, because they have so many cash investments they need to make. They have lots of awesome things they can do with their money. They're not like in a situation where Apple is, where they have piles of cash and don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
They have
Burning
lots of
it to
things they
keep
know what to do.
the big O heated.
Right. Yes.
Spaceship, the donut.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
you've also got the likes of IBM and Microsoft and Ford, GM. They all do this. Well, maybe not GM. New GM is a new company, but they were all doing dividends because they were out of stuff to really decide what to throw at. So,
right. Yeah. Home Depot just bumped up their dividend. I mean, and those are the kind of companies that do that, right? They want to. They're making money. They want to give some of that back to their shareholders, and that's how you do it. But interesting. So way back in 2011, I bought a one share. Have you guys ever heard of this company, One Share? I think they're out of business now. So they used to frame a stock certificate for you. So I was like, oh, Tesla's awesome. I love this company. I'm going to get a one share. And I just looked at my receipt from back then. The stock price was $21.87 for that certificate. And then I got a frame, and I got a little plaque on it that says, "We will not stop until every car on the road is electric, Elon Musk." And so with all that stuff, by the time I got it with shipping and everything, it was $115. Well, that one share split into 5 shares with the last split. And now the share price is $1,000 a share. So this is this thing that cost me $100 sitting in my wall is now worth $5,000. Now, it's not like someone could just grab it and run off with it. So don't come trying to storm my house to find it, because the paper certificates are not worth anything anymore. That's not how everything's digital now. It's in an account. It's yeah. But yeah,
don't come by Patrick's house to steal his wall. It's not worth it. It's not going to get you anything.
It's not worth it. No. Yeah. So I don't know how
criminal record.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to do another 5 for 1 or if they're going to do a 10 for 1.
It's good.
I'm hoping it's a 10 for 1. Not that it, again, we're trading quarters for nickels or pennies, dimes for pennies, but
right. But if that new number is psychologically attainable to more people,
yes,
or the people we said that have to buy whole shares, boom, right. It's going right back up again.
Right, which is why I'm hoping it's a 10 for 1.
Yeah. So and that typically happens with a lot of stock splits, right? Is that the number in people's minds makes it easier for them to purchase at the lower price, and that in turn drives the stock up higher. So it'll be interesting. This meeting is going to be held probably in October, so we've got some time between now and when the decision is going to be made. It'll be interesting to watch the stock price, because it's been fluctuating. It went down to about 710 or something like that, and now it's up to 1100. Right. So it's there's been quite a fluctuation. So it might be a good time, if you have the stomach for it, to get into it, or watch the fluctuation at least, and try to get in as it goes down a little bit, because there seems to be always fluctuations throughout the year. There may be fluctuations between now and 6 months when this is actually passed too. So keep your eye on it. Might be an opportunity. And again, this is not stock advice. Do not take stock advice from a show on YouTube, because we're not going to take any responsibility for it. This is all on you. So talk to your financial advisor and make sure you do what's comfortable for you. So
yep. But if you do jump into Tesla stock, it's a roller coaster, so you better be prepared for that.
Yeah, we can guarantee you that. Some days you're way up, some days you're way down.
Exactly. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about a company out of Brazil called Vale. Vale is a mining company that specializes in nickel. And unbeknownst to all of us, Tesla made a deal with Vale a little while ago, an unannounced deal. And they locked up a contract for, again, a bunch of nickel that Tesla needs. So remember back on Battery Day, when Elon talked about constraint, and the constraint was going to be batteries. and he talked a little bit about nickel, one of the components in these batteries, and he had indicated that any company that mines, he would say you could sign a large contract with Tesla if you mine your nickel with what did he say?
Sustainability at a fair price.
Right. So there certainly were some caveats to it, but Tesla's been looking for nickel for years, and it looks like behind the scenes they've continued to do that and have locked up some nickel supply ahead of time. So when Russia got involved with Ukraine recently, and half the nickel supply was with Russia, the price of nickel jumped dramatically, so much so it had to be stopped trading on some of the markets because it jumped, it doubled. And that has not stopped. It's still selling at an extremely high price because, of course, all the Western countries have decided we're not going to buy things from Russia. Therefore, those mineral deposits are not going to be used in Tesla vehicles or any other vehicle. So the amount of nickel in the world suddenly shrunk. The amount of obtainable nickel suddenly shrunk. So there is this work in the back end where Tesla is going to these different mining companies and signing deals so that they've got that lock on the minerals so they can continue with batteries and continue their scaling. And of course, adding other things such as iron type batteries to the SR cars allows them to continually scale up as well. So they're pulling out all the stops. I don't know what other companies are going to do in the automotive sector that are looking for batteries. I just, there's a lot of talk about companies that are building factories or in combination with other battery manufacturers or building facilities, but are they looking at the long term and trying to lock up different pieces of the battery that is used, different minerals, different deposits from different companies? I'm not hearing any of that in the news media from anyone else. So I wonder if a lot of people may be stuck with a factory that can't produce anything because they don't have the minerals to put inside those batteries.
Right. We talked about this several weeks ago where JB Straubel was saying the other guys are just not doing the math. They put out some number of here's our goal, but that all has commodity streams that are required to fulfill it, and they're not doing the things. So it's nice to have this aspiration, but if you're not doing the work, you're not going to get there.
Exactly. So we'll watch, and of course, this is going to play out for us real time because Tesla's ramping up. These other companies are starting to come online, or believe they'll be coming online in 2023 with these new battery factories. Will they have the minerals to do it? We're going to find out shortly. So keep your eye on the story. Next, Casey's got a story about supercharging and superchargers.
Yeah. So, in the coming days, the headline was awkwardly worded, but it appears to be a quote. It's coming from Drive Tesla Canada worldwide. They say that the Tesla superchargers in the UK are set to open to all EVs within weeks or months. That part's in quotes, within weeks or months. So in the near future. So what we're going to see is what we saw in the Netherlands, where anybody can come and plug in their CCS equipped vehicle to the supercharger network. If they're a member of the Tesla subscription plan, they'll pay the same as Tesla owners. And if they're not, they're going to pay the marked up rates. But they'll have more chargers available to them. Not that Europe has a problem with having enough chargers available, but the simplicity of the supercharger network is unmatched, really, for most. Yeah. So this will be exciting.
And this, of course, didn't come from Tesla. This leak came from the Minister of Transportation in the United Kingdom.
Explains the awkward wording.
She was being interviewed about electric vehicles and about charging infrastructure in the UK. And she let it out that they've been they have been in negotiations with Tesla already for the multiple chargers they have in the UK, and they were expressing to Tesla how it would be advantageous to allow those chargers to be used by other EVs, and that they're working out some sort of deal. So obviously, there'll be some financial gain for Tesla, as we've talked about previously. Wherever these chargers are opened up to others to use, since they're in the right location, they've got the proper amount of chargers at those locations. And of course, it's a single entity that manufacturers, operates, and maintains those chargers, are all pluses for the EV going public. So, I can definitely see that this is a plus. I still see people screaming no about this, and they tend to be from California. So it's because in California and Arizona and places in the Southwest, typically, Tesla chargers are being overrun by Tesla vehicles. So there are some waits in certain locations at certain times of the day. But this can be a huge win for Tesla financially if they can at least look at the chargers that are being underutilized and being able to open those up. Even in North America, they have the data, they know the numbers, so they can now push that along. So it makes sense if they do it logically. We're not seeing that kind of overuse in all areas in North America. In fact, I would say that I would hazard to guess that 80+% of chargers in North America are underutilized. I would say only about 20% are, overutilized, if not less. So.
Right, but if you're trying to use one of those 20%, it's a horrible problem.
Yes, it is. It would be. Absolutely.
This is true. This is true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But as Hockey Day is pointing out right there, I was going to bring that up as well, that the more utilization they get on these stations that are just sitting there looking pretty, I mean, now they're not just billboards, they're also getting money back to pay for the maintenance, pay for the electricity, pay for the rollouts of new supercharger locations or expansions of those ones that they are finding have more utilization than they had anticipated.
Bingo.
Right, and if they do congestion pricing, that'll help even out.
Which
Like,
they do.
okay, we know that these are the times it's busy. We're going to charge 50% more during that time. So come some other time. And if you can't, okay, then you pay. But hopefully that helps even out the utilization.
It does, yeah.
I think Tesla just reached the 3,333 supercharger mark recently. So 3333 has been breached.
Nice.
So it just continues to go up. So congratulations on that. And I don't know, they keep adding almost daily. So it's good to see. It's good to see it's not stopping or slowing down. It just continues. So with extra funds coming in to supplement it, they should, in theory, be able to build faster and more.
Yep,
So.
and that meets with Tesla's mission goal, right? That's not for Tesla to sell every vehicle. It's for all the vehicles to be electric, regardless of who makes them. And having a reliable charging network is a must.
Right.
It's a requirement.
Well, with that, I think we will wrap it up this week. Again, if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up at this point. Press that subscribe button. Helps us out. It doesn't cost you a dime. We would really appreciate the support. Patrick, any shout-outs this week?
Yeah, so as usual, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. Last week on the show, we talked about Musk's Secret Master Plan 3.0, and so I blogged about that. And the interesting take I have here is that I think that Musk's real plan, the one that is a secret, is develop technologies to establish a sustainable population on Mars, and while doing the above, deploy these technologies to make life a secret plan. And then each of these has just been a stage toward that.
Yeah.
So check it out at carswithcords.net. Tell me
I'll
I'm wrong.
definitely look into that.
I can't tell you you're wrong because I agree.
Casey, any Patrick's? Blah.
You're hanging out with Russell for a while, haven't you?
Casey, do you have any shout outs for the end of the show?
I do. So over at youtube.com/Casey Green, KACEY I do a similar to this for longer on Sundays. We expand out to not just Tesla. We that's what I drive, so we do cover that, but other items as well for electrification and green living. And I'm still working on that OMU lithium-ion battery conversion, as well as their HEPA filter drop-in. When I went back and started editing the video, as I said, it was right after a shooting had occurred somewhere down the block, and so there's like police running by asking questions, and I'm gonna salvage this, make it into something useful, but it's taken longer than I thought because it was not the quality I thought it was to begin with.
Well, we look forward to you completing that project. With that said, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Tune in next week, and together we will find out what is going on in the Tesla life.
Stay positive, test negative.
Thanks, Lee Moon, for the music.
Thank you, Lee Moon. It's going from the laptop again.